Lily thought her life was over when tragedy struck, but then a chance encounter with Ben, a brave firefighter, sparks a connection she never expected. As their love grows, secrets from her past threaten to destroy everything, and someone is watching. Will Lily and Ben survive the shadows of the past, or will fear tear them apart? Listen closely. Their story is about to unfold.
The Audio Pages presents The Art of Letting Go. Chapter 1. The Canvas of Grief. The smell of turpentine lingered in the air long after Lily had stopped painting. It clung to the walls, soaked into the wooden floorboards, and slipped beneath the cracks in the windows where sunlight struggled to filter through. Her studio, small, cluttered, and humming with silence, felt like the only place where time refused to move forward. The rest of the world had resumed its rhythm months ago, but Lily remained here, unchanged, buried under the weight of memories she didn't know how to release. An unfinished canvas stood before her on the easel, a landscape she had repainted at least a dozen times. She had started it before her father died, back when her world hadn't yet shifted under her feet. Every time she attempted to finish it, her hands froze, her brush stiffened, her breath tightened, and the weight of the finality, of declaring something complete when she felt so incomplete herself, was too much. She sat on the stool, staring at the canvas. The half-formed trees blurred into the smear of distant hills. The colors were all wrong, too dull, too heavy, just like me, she thought bitterly. Her father used to stand behind her while she painted, hands folded calmly behind his back. Art doesn't always come from joy, he would say. Some of the most beautiful pieces come from wounds. Paint the truth, Lily, even if it hurts. But the truth hurt too much now, and the wound was still open, still raw. A sudden shrieking beep sliced through the quiet. Lily flinched so hard that the brush fell from her fingers. She clapped her hands over her ears, choking on the unexpected noise. It took her several seconds to recognize it. The fire alarm mounted in the ceiling, blaring as though the room were engulfed in flames. "Not again," she muttered. The alarm malfunctioned at least once a month, triggered by some wiring issue in the old building. She grabbed a chair and pushed it beneath the alarm, intending to shut it off herself. But the moment she climbed onto the chair, the noise abruptly stopped. Silence returned, almost accusingly. Then came the knock, firm, confident, and unmistakably official. Lily stepped down from the chair, heart still pounding from the alarm's attack on her nerves. When she opened the door, she expected a building manager, or maybe the electrician she had been begging to come fix the system. Instead, a man in a dark uniform stood there, broad-shouldered, fire-resistant jacket half unzipped, helmet tucked under his arm. His hair was damp, as though he'd just come from a drill or call, and his expression carried a warmth she wasn't prepared for. "Afternoon," he said with a gentle smile. "Fire department. We got an alert from this unit." Lily blinked. Hard. It's just the alarm acting up again. It wasn't, there's no fire." He nodded, stepping just inside the doorway, scanning the room with trained eyes. "That happens sometimes. Old systems have them on their own, but we still have to check it out. It's protocol." Lily stepped aside, her pulse flickering like a nervous flame. He walked into the studio with careful steps, as though respecting the space even without understanding it. His gaze drifted from the shelves of paint jars to the sketchbooks stacked like a small tower on the ground. Then he noticed the easel. "You paint?" She swallowed. "I try." "No, this is good." His eyes stayed on the half-finished canvas longer than she expected. "Really good." Lily's cheeks warmed. Compliments had always made her uncomfortable, but now when self-doubt felt like the only truth she knew, they felt almost intrusive. It's unfinished, and probably will stay that way." "Why?" She almost laughed. "Because I don't know how to finish anything anymore." He turned fully toward her. "I'm Ben, by the way, and for what it's worth, I think you should finish it." She gave a small, tight smile. "You don't even know what it's supposed to be." "You don't have to know the ending to keep going," he replied gently. Something in her chest shifted at that. a flicker of emotion she didn't know how to classify. Maybe it was the sincerity in his tone. Maybe it was the exhaustion in her bones. Maybe it was simply the presence of another human being in the space she had turned into a mausoleum for her grief. Ben moved to the alarm system, tapping a few buttons, testing the wiring. Looks like your circuit might be loose. I'll write it up and have someone from the building take a better look at it. It's not dangerous, just annoying. Annoying. Yeah, that's a word for it. He glanced at her again, this time not with professional detachment, but something softer, something observant. You okay? He asked. The question caught her off guard. People had asked her that before, friends, acquaintances, the neighbors who left condolence cards by her door after father passed, but no one had asked the way he did, not gently, not without expecting a polished answer. Lily hesitated, then shrugged. I'm fine. Then didn't push. He just nodded, as if to acknowledge the unspoken truth that she was anything but fine. Well, he said, stepping back toward the door, if the alarm goes off again, don't panic. We'll come check it out. Meaning, you'll come check it out. The words slipped out before she could stop them. Ben's smile widened just enough to soften the shadows under his eyes. If I'm on shift, yeah. He reached into his jacket, pulling out a small scrap of torn paper. He scribbled something quickly, then handed it to her. Here, in case the system goes crazy at night and you're worried, or in case you need someone to reach. She stared at the paper, a simple phone number with a tiny sketch of a flame next to it. Probably unintentional, maybe just nervous doodling, but it felt strangely symbolic. Thanks, she murmured. He nodded once, gave the studio a final sweep with his eyes as though ensuring it wasn't secretly on fire, then stepped out into the hallway. The moment he left, the studio felt different, lighter somehow, less suffocating, like someone had cracked a window in a room sealed too long. She set the scrap of paper on her work table, unsure why she didn't throw it away, but also unsure why she couldn't. She returned to her canvas. The brush was still on the floor. She picked it up, fingers trembling slightly, and dipped it into a shade of blue that always reminded her of calm seas. She lifted it toward the canvas, but her hand froze again. No, not today. She let the brush drop into the jar. Her father's voice echoed faintly in her memory. Even if it hurts, but she couldn't. Not yet. As dusk settled outside, Lily cleaned up her workspace and reached for the light switch. That's when she saw the paper Ben left again. Her eyes lingered on it longer than she intended. She didn't know why she felt something. It wasn't romantic. Not yet. More like the first cool breeze after a heat-filled day. A reminder that something beyond pain still existed. Maybe even healing. She turned off the lights and stepped toward the door. That's when she heard it. A knock. Soft. Slow. Deliberate. Lily froze. Her studio door was made of frosted glass. Anyone standing outside showed only as a vague silhouette. Her eyes darted upward. A figure stood behind the glass, still, shadowed, impossible to identify. Her pulse quickened. Ben? The building manager? A stranger? The figure didn't move. Her breath caught. Her hand hovered inches from the doorknob. Then another knock. This one louder. She swallowed hard, her heart hammering against her ribs as the shadow leaned slightly closer, its outline sharpening against the misted glass. Whoever it was, they were waiting.
Chapter 2. Sparks in the Ashes. The knock echoed through the studio again, louder this time, and Lily's breath trembled in her chest. She swallowed hard, inching toward the door. The frosted glass distorted the figure standing behind it. Broad shoulders, still posture, a head tilted as though listening for movement inside. Her heart hammered. "Who is it?" she called,
hoping her voice didn't sound as shaky to whoever stood on the other side. A beat of silence. Then the shadow shifted, and a familiar voice broke the tension. "Lily, it's me, Ben." Relief washed through her so intensely she had to press her hand to her chest. She unlocked the door and opened it to find him standing there, helmet in one hand, rain droplets clinging to the edges of his jacket. Though the sky had been clear earlier, a thin mist now blanketed the courtyard, softening the streetlights into pale halos. "You startled me," she said, exhaling shakily. "Sorry," Ben replied, stepping back just enough to show he wasn't forcing his way in. "We got another alarm notification from this unit. Just a small sensor ping. Probably nothing, but we're required to check it out." Lily blinked. "Again? I didn't hear anything this time." "That happens sometimes," he said. "False signals don't always trigger the sound." He glanced past her into the studio, scanning the corners the way he had earlier. But this time, his inspection felt less professional and more human. As though he wasn't just checking for hidden flames, but checking for her. "May I come in?" he asked. She nodded and stepped aside. Ben entered, setting his helmet gently on a nearby stool as he moved toward the corner where the alarm control box was mounted. With practiced ease, he opened it and tested a few wires. "Your wiring is really worn. This whole building probably needs an update. I'll file a report." Lily wrapped her arms around herself, now acutely aware of how quiet the studio was with just the two of them inside. She watched him work, trying not to seem obvious. He really was striking, not in an intimidating, heroic sort of way, but in a grounded, honest way. Strong jaw, warm eyes, a tiredness about him that felt too familiar. A mix of weight carried and weight hidden. "You're working late," Ben said, without turning around. "Habit. The studio feels different at night." "Different good or different bad?" Lily hesitated. "Both." Ben nodded, not pushing for more. He closed the alarm box panel and faced her again, brushing his fingers across the back of his neck. "There's, something calming about this place," he said, looking around. "Maybe it's just because it's yours." Lily's breath hitched at his words. She wasn't used to people speaking so openly, not to her and definitely not about her. She cleared her throat. "So is everything okay with the alarm?" "Yeah, I don't think you're in any danger, but try not to ignore any new alerts just in case." "Right, of course." He smiled, soft and a little crooked. "Don't worry, if anything happens, I'm pretty good at running toward fires." She couldn't help it. She laughed. A genuine, warm laugh she hadn't heard from her own lips in weeks. Ben's eyes lit up at the sound. "Hey, that's better," he said softly. "You should laugh more." She looked down, cheeks warming. "Not much to laugh about these days." "Sometimes," he said, leaning slightly against the wall. "The laugh comes first, and the reason shows up after." Lily blinked at him. "Do you always talk like that?" "Like what?" "Like you're trying to be a philosopher disguised as a firefighter?" He chuckled. "Maybe a little, but only when something or someone needs reassurance." Her breath caught again. Before she could find a response, Ben stepped closer to the easel. The unfinished painting still waited there, haunting her the way grief did, staring back with truths she wasn't ready to face. "Tell me about it," he said. The request was simple, gentle, but incredibly difficult. Lily clasped her hands together. "It's something I started months before my dad passed. I haven't been able to finish it since." Ben nodded slowly. "It's beautiful, even unfinished." "It feels wrong," she whispered. "How?" "Like finishing it means accepting he's gone. Ben's eyes softened. I'm sorry. She swallowed hard. I just can't let go yet. Not of him, not of the guilt. Ben tilted his head. Guilt? She immediately regretted saying the word. You don't have to talk about that, he added quickly. Not if you're not ready. No, it's just... She sighed. He wanted me to visit the night it happened, but I stayed here, working, and when I finally went to see him, it was too late. Silence settled heavy in the room. Ben stepped closer, not close enough to invade her space, but close enough to offer warmth without touching her. You couldn't have known, he said softly. You loved him. He knew that. But I wasn't there, she said, voice cracking. And I should have been. Ben's expression shifted, subtle but unmistakable, a flicker of recognition, pain, something he understood all too well. You're carrying weight you were never meant to carry, he said gently. Trust me, I know what that's like. His voice dipped into something deeper, haunted. She looked at him fully for the first time, really looked at him. What happened to you? She asked before she could stop herself. He hesitated. His chest rose and fell slowly. There was a rescue, he said quietly, months ago. A little boy trapped in a collapsed building. We did everything we could, but some fires take more than they should. Lily's heart clenched. Ben, he shook his head, eyes glistening. Sometimes I still hear him calling for help, and sometimes I think if I had been faster, stronger, something, maybe it would have ended differently. He exhaled shakily. That's why I get anxious, why I struggle with sleep, why some days I feel unworthy of the uniform I wear. Lily stepped forward without thinking. She didn't touch him, but she stood close enough to show she wasn't afraid of the brokenness he admitted to. You're human, she whispered, not a machine. You did everything you could. Ben met her gaze, and something passed between them, raw, honest, unguarded. Two people standing at the crossroads of their own failures, both desperately wishing they could rewrite the past. Neither spoke for several seconds. Finally, Ben cleared his throat, straightening slightly. Sorry, didn't mean to dump that on you. You didn't, she said. You shared. There's a difference. He gave her a grateful half-smile, walked to her work table and picked up a charcoal pencil, rolling it between her fingers nervously. I don't usually talk to people like this. I don't either, he admitted, but it feels easy with you. That small sentence, it feels easy with you, sent a ripple through her chest, quiet but potent. Again, she felt the urge to deflect, to retreat into the comfort of her emotional walls. But she didn't want to, not with him. He stepped back toward the door, his shift clearly pulling him away. I should go. Got a report to file and a team waiting outside. She nodded. Thank you for everything. He hesitated, then reached into his jacket pocket again and pulled out a folded piece of paper. I wasn't sure if I should leave this, but here. Lily opened it, and her breath caught. It was a sketch, a quick charcoal drawing of her studio. The window, the easel, even the streaks of paint on the floor. Loosely drawn, but beautiful. Alive, full of detail someone could only capture if they were really paying attention. You drew this? She whispered. Ben rubbed his back of his neck. I used to sketch when I was younger, mostly for fun. I'm not great or anything, but I saw your space and thought it was worth remembering. Lily stared at him, lost for words. He offered a small, almost shy smile. Art helps me breathe. Figured maybe it helps you too. Her chest warmed in a way she hadn't expected. "It does." He headed for the exit. "Good night, Lily." "Good night, Ben." The door closed softly behind him. For several minutes, Lily didn't move. She simply stared at the sketch in her hand.
A sketch from a man who barely knew her, but somehow saw her more clearly than anyone had in a long time. She placed the drawing gently on her table, smoothing the edges. Her eyes drifted to her unfinished canvas. Maybe she could paint again tomorrow. Maybe. She exhaled slowly and reached for the lights. But before she could turn them off, her phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. Her stomach tightened. She unlocked the screen, expecting maybe a wrong number or a notification from a company. Instead, she froze. "We need to talk. I'm done keeping your secret. If you don't meet me tomorrow, I'll make sure everyone knows what you did." Lily's hand trembled, her breath turning sharp. No, not now, not when she was finally starting to feel something like hope again. Her past, the mistake she buried, the betrayal she'd tried desperately to forget. It was back, and it was threatening everything. Lily sank onto her stool as dread coiled in her chest like a living thing. The message had no signature, but she didn't need one. She knew exactly who it was. Chapter 3. Brushstrokes of the Past. The message glowed on the screen long after Lily had stopped reading it. Her hands trembled so violently she nearly dropped the phone. She set it on the table as though it was something that could burn her, staring at the threatening words as if they were a ghost resurrected. "We need to talk. I'm done keeping your secret. If you don't meet me tomorrow, I'll make sure everyone knows what you did." Lily closed her eyes, her chest tightening. The secret she had buried, the betrayal she'd convinced herself she could outrun, the mistake she'd justified 100 different ways but never forgiven herself for, was clawing its way back. She pressed her palms to her face, breathing through the rising panic. Not again. Not now. Not when she had just started to feel capable of breathing without the weight of her father's absence crushing her. Her mind tried to convince her this wasn't real. Maybe it was a prank. Maybe she was misreading. But no. The number was unknown, yes, but the tone, the threat, everything about it felt familiar, too familiar. Her stomach dropped. There was only one person this could be. Sleep avoided her that night. She tossed and turned on the worn-out couch she often collapsed onto after long hours in the studio. Dreams kept slipping into nightmares, flashes of accusations, gallery lights glaring down on her like interrogation lamps, her father's disappointed silence, the art community whispering behind her back. When she finally gave up on sleep, she sat up and looked at her studio in the early morning light. The air felt colder, more hollow. Even the unfinished canvas seemed to stare back with judgment. "You knew this would happen," she whispered to herself. And she had. She'd known that burying the truth wasn't the same as making it disappear. She'd known that consequences had a way of resurfacing when least expected. She just hadn't expected now, or so violently. By late morning, Lily forced herself to leave the studio. Her legs seemed to move on autopilot, her mind replaying the past over and over, moments she wished she could erase, decisions she wished she could rewrite. The meeting place specified in the follow-up, earlier text, was a quiet public garden not far from the arts district. A neutral space, open enough to feel safe, but secluded enough for tense conversations. Her heart pounded as she walked past trimmed hedges and the stone path leading deeper into the garden. Birds chirped overhead, their cheerful sounds mocking the dread twisting inside her. As she turned a corner, she saw a figure standing near a fountain, arms crossed, posture stiff, expression already sharp even from afar. Lily's breath hitched. It was her, Clara, the last person she ever wanted to face again. Clara turned as Lily approached, her eyes flashing with a coldness Lily remembered all too well. "Well," Clara said, her voice clipped. "You actually came." Lily swallowed hard. "You asked me to." "No," Clara corrected. "I warned you." She stepped closer,
her gaze scanning Lily as though assessing whether guilt had reshaped her physically. Maybe it had. Lily felt smaller, diminished. Clara looked different, more polished, more put together. Her hair was straightened into a sleek line, her clothing perfectly styled. She looked like someone who had moved on and hardened herself in the process. "You haven't changed much," Clara said, almost as an accusation. Lily let out a shaky breath. "Clara, I don't want this to be hostile." "Hostile?" Clara laughed coldly. "Do you think I care about being hostile after what you did to me?" Lily's chest tightened. There it was, the anger she had always feared, always avoided. "I'm not here to fight," Lily said softly. "I just want to talk." Clara stepped even closer. "Good. Let's talk then. Let's talk about how you sabotaged my piece during the annual showcase. Let's talk about how I trusted you, how you pretended to support me, and then—" Lily closed her eyes, pain slicing through her. She remembered. She remembered everything. The competition, the biggest amateur showcase of the year. Clara's masterpiece, a striking, abstract piece that had stunned even the judges during pre-evaluation. Lily's own work, good, but overshadowed. Her insecurity, her desperation. The moment she saw a tiny flaw developing in Clara's drawing paint, a crack forming too early. Clara had asked for help watching it as she left briefly. Lily had hesitated, and in that hesitation, selfish fear had won. Instead of fixing the flaw, something she knew how to do, she let it worsen, let it crack, let it fall apart in front of the judges. She hadn't physically destroyed it, she hadn't touched it, but she hadn't saved it either. Her silence had been the betrayal, and Clara had lost her chance to be awarded, lost credibility, lost her passion for months. Lily had tried to apologize back then, but it had been too late. The friendship had shattered. Clara's voice cut through her memories. "You haven't even said sorry," she accused. "I have," Lily whispered, "but I don't think you believe me. And I don't blame you. You barely tried. You ran away. You hid behind your guilt." "Because I didn't know what to say," Lily's voice cracked. "How do you apologize for something like that? For hurting someone who trusted you?" Clara's jaw tightened. They stood there for a long moment, the sounds of the garden fading into the background. Finally, Clara folded her arms again. "I'm going public with the story." Lily's breath froze. "Please, don't." Clara looked at her with a mix of pain and anger. "I'm not doing this to ruin your career, Lily. You already did that yourself. I'm doing this because I'm tired of carrying the truth while everyone thinks you're this tragic, misunderstood artist. They don't know what you're capable of." The words hit Lily like blows. Clara continued. "However," she paused, "there's an alternative." Lily blinked through the rising sting of tears. "What do you mean?" Clara took a deep breath, as though even presenting this option frustrated her. "Meet with the panel organizing the new arts initiative. Confess to them. Tell them you sabotaged me, not directly, but by negligence. Get the truth out privately before people expose it publicly." Lily stared at her. "You want me to confess?" she whispered. "Yes," Clara said. "It's time. It's been time for years. You owe me that much." Lily's heartbeat thudded painfully. She opened her mouth to speak, but no words came out. Not because Clara was wrong. She wasn't. Lily owed her honesty. She owed her accountability. But confessing meant risking everything she had tried to rebuild. Her reputation, her small network, any chances at future gallery placements. It meant admitting she wasn't just grieving. She was guilty, too. Clara must have read the fear on her face. "Don't act surprised," Clara said sharply. "Actions have consequences. You taught me that." Lily's eyes filled with tears. "Clara, I'm sorry. I've been sorry for years. If I can undo it, you can't, Clara cut in. But you can do the right thing now. Lily nodded slowly, numbly. I'll think about it. You don't have time to think, Clara said sharply. The committee meets in 2 days. Be there. If you don't show up, then I release everything. She took a step back, her expression softening just a fraction. For what it's worth, I didn't want it to come to this. Then she turned and walked away, leaving Lily alone in the garden. The weight of the encounter settled over her like a heavy canvas draped across her shoulders. Lily sat on the edge of the fountain, burying her face in her hands. Everything she had tried to build, every shaky step forward she had made since her father's death, felt like it was crumbling beneath her feet. Hours later, Lily returned to her studio, drained and hollow. The moment she stepped inside, her phone buzzed. A message. She pulled it out reluctantly. This time it wasn't Clara. It was Ben. Long day. Thinking about our conversation yesterday. If you need someone to talk to, I'm around. Lily sank onto her stool, emotions swirling inside her like a storm. She wanted to talk to him. She wanted to tell him everything, but she couldn't drag someone like Ben, someone kind, gentle, already carrying so much into her mess. She typed a response, then deleted it. Typed again, deleted again. Eventually, she sent something simple. Thank you. I appreciate that. A moment later, he replied. I meant it, Lily. She pressed the phone to her chest, feeling the heaviness inside her. But before she could let herself breathe, another notification chimed. This time it wasn't a message. It was an alert. A new article posted by an art columnist. Headline: Rising Artist Connected to Past Controversy. Her blood ran cold. She clicked it.
The article wasn't explicit, but it was clear enough. Rumors about an unnamed betrayal resurfacing. Whispers about integrity issues. Hints pointed toward her. Her vision blurred. She wasn't ready. She wasn't prepared. She hadn't even had time to face the truth fully, and already the public eye was turning toward her. Her phone buzzed again. Ben, are you okay? She didn't respond. Couldn't respond, because the ground beneath her life had just cracked open, and she was falling. Chapter 4. Fires Within. Lily didn't leave the studio for nearly 24 hours after the article surfaced. She tried to work, but her hands shook too violently to hold a pencil. She tried to sleep, but her mind kept replaying the headline. Rising artist connected to past controversy like a taunt. She sat on the paint-splattered floor, knees pulled to her chest, staring at the wall as if answers would appear there. Her phone buzzed every so often. Ben, 6:02 p.m. Lily, are you okay? Ben, 7:11 p.m. I'm here if you want to talk. Ben, 9:23 p.m. I'm worried. Please tell me you're safe. She didn't reply, not because she didn't want to, but because she didn't know where to begin. How could she tell him she wasn't the person he thought she was? That she wasn't just grieving her dad or struggling with confidence. She was someone who had once let envy win. Someone who carried guilt shaped like a crack in a friend's masterpiece. Someone who didn't deserve someone like Ben. By morning she hadn't eaten. Her eyes burned from exhaustion. Her studio felt smaller than ever. She stumbled toward the sink to splash water on her face. The mirror above it reflected someone she barely recognized. Hair tangled, eyes red, cheeks pale. This is my fault, she whispered. Her phone buzzed again, and this time the vibration irritated her already frayed nerves. She reached for it, prepared to silence it, when she froze. It wasn't Ben. It was a message from the Arts Collective's administrator. Request for immediate comment. Rumors circulating. A journalist is requesting an official response. Please contact us as soon as possible. Lily's heart clenched so tight she felt faint. The walls were closing in. Everything she had feared, everything Clara warned, everything she tried to bury was unraveling faster than she could breathe.
And the worst part? She had no one to blame but herself. She slid to the floor, head in her hands, when her studio door rattled. Sharp, urgent knocking, slicing through the quiet. She startled, her breath catching. "Lily, are you okay?" Ben's voice called. "Please, open up." The jolt of hearing his voice in person hit her like a shock. After a long second, she forced herself to stand, walking stiffly to the door and opening it just enough to see him. He stood there, tired, concerned, damp from a light drizzle outside. His uniform pants and boots were still on, jacket unzipped. He must have come straight from the station. His eyes scanned her face instantly. "Lily, what happened?" She swelled. "Nothing. I'm fine." "You're not fine," he said gently, stepping closer but not pushing his way in. "You look like you haven't slept. You didn't answer any of my messages. I was on the verge of calling someone to check on you." Lily forced a weak smile. "I'm sorry. I need a space." "Space?" he echoed softly. "Or were you scared to talk to me?" She flinched, then sighed, looking at her with such softness it nearly broke her. "Lily, please, let me in." Something inside her cracked. She stepped aside. Ben entered slowly, eyes sweeping the room. The disarray, the untouched food container from yesterday, the dark circles under her eyes, the silent chaos. He turned back toward her. "Is this because of the article?" Her breath shook. She didn't answer. Ben exhaled slowly, stepping closer. "Talk to me." Lily bit her lips to keep it from trembling. "You won't understand. Try me," he said, voice low. A long silence stretched between them. Finally, she whispered, "It's about my past." Then nodded, waiting. "I did something I shouldn't have. Something I regret every day. It involved someone I worked with, Clara. I hurt her. I let something bad happen to her piece during the showcase years ago. I could have prevented it, but I didn't. And now she's threatening to expose the whole thing." Ben remained still, processing, not reacting with shock or disgust, just listening. "I tried to move on, but it's all coming back, and I don't know how to fix it." Ben stepped even closer. "Lily, everyone makes mistakes." "This wasn't just a mistake," she whispered fiercely. "It was selfish. It ruined her chances. It ruined our friendship. And now it's going to ruin everything I've tried to rebuild. My reputation, my work, my—" He gently touched her elbow. "Your what?" "My life," she whispered. Ben's face softened with understanding so deep it made her want to cry. "Lily," he said gently, "you're not the only one who's done something they regret." She blinked at him. Ben looked toward the window briefly, gathering courage, then said quietly, "That rescue, I told you about the boy. His voice wavered. "I made a call. I thought I was doing the right thing. I redirected my partner to check a different room because I was sure the boy was somewhere else. By the time we found him, it was too late." Lily stared stunned. Ben's voice broke. "If I'd chosen differently, if I trusted my gut instead of protocol, maybe he'd still be alive." "Ben," she whispered, "I live with that every day. Every single day." He met her eyes, pain written clearly across his features. "But I've learned something. Shame grows in silence. Guilt grows in shadows. But honestly, honesty is painful, but it's freeing." Lily swallowed hard. "I don't know how to be honest about this. Not when it could ruin everything." Ben nodded. "That fear means you still care. That's good." She shook her head, tears forming. "I don't feel good. I feel sick." He gave her a small, broken smile. "Same." Their shared vulnerability filled the room like a quiet storm, heavy, charged, but cleansing in its own way. Ben cleared his throat. "What does Clara want you to do?" "Confess to the committee," Lily said, privately, "before she exposes everything publicly." Then nodded slowly. That's harsh, but maybe she just wants closure.
Or revenge, Lily muttered. Maybe both. She looked at him desperately. What should I do? He held her gaze. What do you feel is right? She opened her mouth and closed it because she didn't know. Because every option terrified her. After a long silence, Ben reached for her hand. She stiffened, but didn't pull away. You're not alone, he said softly. Whatever you decide, I'm here. That simple sentence, solid, gentle, unwavering, hit her in the chest with unexpected force. She squeezed his hand just briefly, but then she let go, stepping back as fear surged again, fear that letting him get close would lead to hurting him too. I need to think, she whispered. Ben's expression fell, but he nodded. Of course, I'll give you space, but Lily. She looked up. Don't disappear on me. Something flickered in her chest, warm, painful, hopeful all at once. I won't, she whispered. He nodded once, then turned to leave, and that was when her phone buzzed again. Clara, another message. She didn't open it yet, but dread filled her instantly. Ben noticed his jaw tighten. Is that her? Lily nodded. Do you want me to stay? No one has asked her that since her dad died. Her heart swelled and broke at the same time. You should go, she said softly. You're already to deal with so much. You don't need my mess too. Ben sprouts further. Lily, I want to be here, but I don't want to pull you into something that could hurt you, she whispered. That silenced him. He exhaled slowly. Okay, but this isn't over. I care about you more than I probably should. Don't shut me out. She swallowed. I won't. He hesitated, just long enough for her to feel the weight of the moment. Then he walked out quietly, closing the door behind him. Lily stood frozen for several seconds. Then she checked Clara's new message.
I thought you should know. A reporter contacted me directly. I haven't responded yet, but you need to act fast. Her stomach twisted painfully. She started pacing. Her breath quickened. Thoughts raced and crashed. She had two choices: stay silent and watch everything collapse publicly, or confess and risk losing everything privately. Neither option felt survivable. Her phone vibrated again, this time a video notification from a local news channel. Curious, she tapped it open. A breaking news headline appeared. Firefighter injured during evening response, condition unknown. Lily's heart seized. A photo flashed on the screen. Ben's fire station, a live scene with flashing lights and smoke. Paramedics rushing toward an ambulance. The reporter said, one of the responding firefighters was injured during the rescue attempt. He has been taken to the nearest medical center. Lily watched with growing terror. Then she heard the reporter speak a name. Firefighter Ben Avery. Her breath stopped. Her hand flew to her mouth. No, no, no. The phone slipped from her fingers and hit the studio floor. Ben, the one person who had reached for her through her shame, the one person who had stood beside her darkness, the one person whose presence had lifted some of her grief, was hurt, and she didn't know how badly. Her chest constricted, suffocating her with fear. She grabbed her coat, rushing toward the door, but as she stepped out, her phone buzzed one final time on the floor. A new message from Clara. It's already starting, Lily. You need to decide. But Lily didn't look back. She was already running toward the hospital, toward uncertainty, toward the one person she wasn't ready to lose.
Chapter 5. Smoke and Silence. The hospital lobby was colder than it should have been. Too white, too bright, too quiet in all the wrong ways. Lily pushed through the sliding doors, heart pounding so fiercely she felt it in her teeth. Her coat was still half-buttoned from the frantic sprint from the studio, her breath uneven, her hair tangled from the wind. Her eyes darted around the lobby, searching for anyone, a uniform, a paramedic, a nurse, someone who could tell her where Ben was, what had happened, if he was still breathing. Please be okay. Please be okay. Please be okay. The desperate mantra looped inside her as she approached the reception desk, gripping its edge to steady herself. The nurse glanced up. "How can I help you?" I'm looking for someone. A firefighter. He was brought in. Ben Avery. I need to know if he made it here." Her voice cracked, breaking into a whisper before she could finish the sentence. The nurse's expression softened. "He arrived a short while ago. He's in evaluation now. I'll see if I can get an update for you." "Please, thank you. Please hurry." Lily breathed, the words tumbling. As the nurse stepped away, Lily backed up and sank into a chair near the wall. Her legs trembled violently, adrenaline still flooding her system. She stared at the floor, trying not to imagine the worst. She failed. Her mind conjured images she didn't want. Ben trapped. Smoke filling the space, flames closing in, debris falling, Ben coughing, yelling instructions and going silent, Ben lying still on a gurney, soot-streaked and pale, Ben's hand slipping from consciousness. She squeezed her eyes shut, pressing her palms against them until she saw bursts of light. Not him. Not now. Not when he finally let me see who he really is. Her phone buzzed again. She didn't need to check to know it was probably Clara, or the news, or the collective, or someone wanting a statement she couldn't give because every cell in her body was consumed with one fear. What if Ben never walked out of this hospital? She couldn't lose someone again, not like her father, suddenly, without warning, without closure, not when she was still learning how to breathe again. Please, God, not this. Don't take him, not Ben. Her head dropped into her hands. Footsteps approached. Lily lifted her head so fast her neck twinged. The nurse returned. "He's stable." Lily gasped, air rushing into her lungs like relief flooding through a dam. He's okay? I mean, stable means he's conscious," the nurse confirmed gently. "He inhaled a significant amount of smoke, and he took a hard hit when part of the ceiling came down. He has some minor burns on his arm and shoulder, but he's awake and asking for someone." Her breath hitched. "For me?" "I can't say who specifically, but he asked if someone had come looking for him. That often means a friend, or—" she paused, giving Lily a knowing but gentle smile. "Someone important." She swallowed, suddenly lightheaded. "Can I see him?" "Yes, follow me." Her legs moved before her mind caught up, following the nurse through a series of hallways. Each step sped her heartbeat, anticipation and terror mixing in her stomach. Finally, they stopped at a door half open, light spilling into the corridor. "He's right inside. Take your time." Lily nodded, though she wasn't sure her voice would work anyway. She pushed the door open. Ben lay on the bed, pale, exhausted, an oxygen tube running beneath his nose. His left arm was bandaged and resting over a thin blanket. His hair was messy, soot still smudged along his jawline. He looked like he'd been through a war, but he was alive. Ben turned at the sound of the door. When he saw her, a tired but unmistakable smile curved his lips. "Hey, Lily." Her lungs squeezed painfully. She crossed the room in 3 quick steps, stopping just shy of the bed. "Ben, what happened? Does it hurt? Are you—" He laughed out a breathy laugh. "Slow down. I'm okay. Or getting there." She looked at him, really looked at him, and the tears she'd been holding back spilled instantly. His smile faltered. "Come here." She sat on the edge of the bed, careful not to touch the burns, and he reached out his good hand. She took it automatically. He squeezed gently. "I'm okay. You could have—" Her throat closed. "I saw the news. They didn't say your name at first. I didn't know if you were— Ben, I was so scared." He brushed his thumb over her knuckles. "I didn't mean to scare you. You didn't exactly send a warning," she said, voice shaking. "It happened fast." His expression sobered. "We got a call for a structural fire. Family was trapped inside. We got most of them out, but the father was still on the 2nd floor. When I went back in, a part of the ceiling came down. I dodged the worst of it, but not all." Lily felt sick. "Ben, hey." He lifted her hand to his chest, right over his heartbeat. "I'm still here." His sincerity was overwhelming. Lily pulled her hand away to wipe her tears, then reached for him again, unable to let go for long. Ben rested back against the pillow, watching her with a softness she wasn't prepared for. "Were you at the studio when it happened?" he asked quietly. She nodded. "Did you see the messages from Clara?" Another nod. "Did you talk to the committee?" She shook her head. "No. Everything hit at once. I panicked, and then the news—" Her voice broke. Ben exhaled slowly. "Lily, you have to tell them, or at least talk to Clara. This isn't going away." "I know, and I'll be with you," he said. Her eyes widened. "You have enough to worry about. Your health, your job, your—" "I care about you," he interrupted softly. "I'm not stepping back now." His words warmed her and terrified her at all once. "You shouldn't care," she said before thinking. "Not about me. Not when my past could destroy everything for you, too." Ben frowned. "Lily, your past can't destroy me. You don't know that. What, you think people will blame me because I care about someone who made a mistake? That isn't how this works. You don't understand how ruthless the art world is. They don't forget. They love a scandal, and anyone close to the person in the center becomes collateral damage." Ben held her gaze. "You're not a scandal. You're a person. That doesn't matter to them. It matters to me." His conviction, gentle yet unwavering, sent a tremor through her. Ben looked at her for a long moment. "Lily, why does this scare you so much?" She stared at the floor. "Because I know what it feels like to lose someone. My dad, I never got to say goodbye. I can't," her voice cracked, "I can't lose anyone else. Opening up, caring, it feels like a risk I can't afford." Ben's expression shifted. Understanding, heartbreak, tenderness, all blending together. "That's not your fault," he whispered. She forced a weak smile. "It's not yours either." Silence settled, heavy but not hostile. Ben tugged her hand lightly. "Sit with me a while?" She nodded, and for several minutes they didn't speak. She simply listened to the steady rhythm of his breathing, watched the gentle rise and fall of his chest, watched the way exhaustion softened the sharp angles of his face. Being here, beside him, felt terrifyingly natural. When he finally spoke, his voice was low. "You know, when I was under the ceiling beam, the first thing I thought was, 'Not yet.'" Lily's heart stumbled. "Not yet what?" "Not yet time for me to go." His eyes softened. "Not when I finally found someone who makes life feel worth something again." She froze. Her pulse thundered in her ears. Ben smiled faintly. "Yeah, I know. Too much. Blame the pain meds." But it wasn't too much. It was exactly what she had feared and wanted to hear. She opened her mouth to respond, but the door swung open sharply before she could. A tall man in a uniform, Ben's captain judging by the insignia, stepped inside. "Ben," he said gruffly, but relief washed over his faces. "You scared the hell out of us." Ben tried to chuckle. "Sorry, sir." The captain's gaze shifted to Lily. "And you are." Lily stood automatically. I'm a friend." He corrected softly. "She's someone who matters." Her cheeks burned. The captain nodded once, then turned to Ben. "I just came from briefing. They're still investigating the collapse. Early reports suggest it wasn't structurally sound, which contributed to the severity." Ben stiffened. "Was anyone else hurt?" "No fatalities, but Lucas sprained his ankle trying to drag you out." Ben cursed under his breath. "Tell him I'm sorry. He is fine, but there's something else you should know." The captain hesitated. "The press is all over this already. They've got your name. They're running stories about how you're reckless or careless or—" "What?" Lily blurted. Ben grimaced. "Figures. You're being painted as a liability," the captain continued, voice grave. "I don't believe it. The crew doesn't believe it, but someone leaked the incident details before we even sent the official report. Lily's stomach dropped. The press, of course, them again, hunting for stories, twisting narratives.
The captain added, "There'll be an inquiry. You won't lose your job, Avery, but the stress will be rough." Lily looked from Ben to the captain, horror growing. Ben was already injured, vulnerable, shaken, and now the media circus was coming for him too. She felt cold. The captain placed a hand on Ben's uninjured shoulder. "Rest. I'll update the crew." When he left, the room felt smaller. Ben's eyes drifted to Lily. He looked exhausted. "Looks like we're both having a rough week." She tried to smile, but it faltered. "Ben, this is my fault." He frowned. "How is any of this your fault?" "Because the press is digging into everything right now. Firefighters, artists, anyone with the slightest controversy. If they find out about my past, if they link you to me, they'll spin it. They always do. And you're already dealing with an inquiry." "Lily, stop," Ben said firmly. "You're not responsible for a fire." "I'm responsible for the attention and the scandal and anything that comes next." "Lily!" "No," she interrupted, voice cracking. "I won't let you be collateral damage, not because of me." Ben tried to sit up straighter, winced in pain, then looked at her with raw seriousness.
"You don't get to decide that," he said. "You don't get to walk away from me because you're afraid."
"I'm trying to protect you," she whispered.
"And I'm trying to choose you."
Her breath caught. Before she could respond, a soft knock came at the door. A nurse peeked in. "I'm sorry, but visiting hours are ending soon. He needs rest." Lily nodded faintly. Ben watched her, eyes searching hers. "You'll come back?" Her heart twisted painfully. "Yes," she said, though the word was barely audible. When she stepped into the hallway and the door closed behind her, her composure collapsed. Her phone buzzed again. This time she checked it. A new message from the Arts Collective Committee. "We need to meet immediately. Return our call." Another message popped up, this time from a journalist. "Comment on resurfaced allegations? We have statements from sources." Lily felt her throat close. Then another notification, this one from an unknown number. "We know what you did." Her vision blurred. The hallway spun. She gripped the wall for support. Ben was fighting for his career. She was fighting to keep her past from detonating. And someone, somewhere, was actively feeding the flames. Her phone buzzed again. A final message from Clara. "It's too late to hide, Lily. The truth is coming out." Lily's breath caught. She stared at the message, her pulse a chaotic drum in her ears. Too late. The words looped like a warning or a threat. As she stood frozen in the hospital hallway, shaken, breathless, terrified, a shadow moved behind the frosted glass panel of the waiting area door. Someone watching her. Someone who didn't belong. And then the shadow vanished, leaving only silence and rising dread.
Chapter 6. Truth in the Ruins. Lily didn't remember the walk back to her studio. One moment she was standing in the hospital hallway, trembling as an unseen figure slipped away behind the frosted glass. The next, she was pushing open the door of her studio, the familiar smell of paint and turpentine wrapping around her like a heavy, suffocating blanket. She shut the door behind her and pressed her back against it, heart racing. Her phone screen was still lit up with the last message. "It's too late to hide, Lily. The truth is coming out." Clara's words echoed in her mind. But it wasn't just Clara anymore. It was the committee, the reporters, the unknown number threatening her, the shadow in the hospital hallway. Someone was watching her. She slid down the door until she was sitting on the floor, knees to her chest. She pressed her face into her hands, her breath uneven but silent, muffled by the darkness she had tried so hard to outrun. And failing. completely failing. She lifted her head slowly and stared at her unfinished canvas, Ben's portrait, the one she'd started before the fire, before the scandals, before the anonymous threats, a piece filled with warmth, hope, light. Now it felt like a cruel reminder of a life that was slipping from her grasp. "I should have told the truth," she whispered. "I should have fixed this before it became a disaster." But she didn't, and the consequences were closing in. The studio felt different now, no longer a sanctuary, but a place heavy with secrets. Every shadow felt alive. Every creak of the walls felt like footsteps. She forced herself to stand and walk to the window. Outside, the street was empty, quiet. Was someone out there, watching, waiting? Her phone buzzed again. She flinched, nearly dropping it. This time, it was Clara, calling. She stared at the screen, dread twisting in her stomach. She wasn't ready to talk, not tonight, not after everything. But avoiding Clara hadn't helped so far. She answered. "Hello?" "Lily." Clara's voice was tight, brittle. "We need to talk now." "I know. I don't know how." "Stop." Clara's tone was sharp. "This has gone too far. Reporters are calling me nonstop. Random accounts saying they know everything. The collective wants to launch an investigation, and it's not just rumors anymore. Someone leaked documents, your old portfolio, your correspondence, pictures from years ago. Someone is digging deep." Lily's heart plummeted. "What documents? Everything you submitted during our internship, the files you thought were gone, they're resurfacing." Lily felt cold. Clara continued, her voice cracking for the first time. "Lily, someone wants to destroy you." The words hit like a punch. Lily grabbed the edge of her work table to stay upright. "Clara, I swear I didn't leak anything. I didn't reach out to the press. I wouldn't." "I know you didn't," Clara said quietly. Lily froze. You believe me?" Clara exhaled heavily. "I've spent years being angry at you. Years. But someone twisting the past? Digging through our personal files? Making threats? That's not you. That's someone with a motive." Lily sank into her chair, eyes burning. "Clara, I'm so sorry for everything. I should have—" "We're not doing this now," Clara interrupted. "Not tonight. We can talk later, but you need to come clean to the committee tomorrow morning. They want your statement." Lily swallowed hard. "If I confess, I'll lose everything. If you don't, someone else will control the story and make it worse." The truth hit her with painful clarity. She had lost control. Completely. Clara's voice softened. "Lily, tell them the truth, not to protect me or the committee, but to protect yourself." Lily wiped her tears with the back of her hand. "Okay, I'll go." "Good." Clara hesitated. "Rest and, Lily, whatever happens next, I hope you find peace." The line clicked dead. Lily sat in silence, staring at her paintbrushes, scattered like tiny wreckage across her workbench. Peace felt like a distant fantasy. But maybe, just maybe, she could reclaim something honest from the ruins. The sun rose slowly, casting pale light through Lily's studio window. She didn't sleep at all. Instead, she cleaned, organized, rearranged. Not because it needed to be done, but because she didn't know what else to do. Her hands trembled the entire time. By 8:30 a.m., she was walking toward the Arts Collective building, the air cool and still. She held a folder in her hand, old letters, sketches, proof of everything she once tried to hide. Her confession. The front steps of the collective were crowded. Reporters, camera crews, people holding microphones like weapons. The moment she appeared, cameras clicked. "Lily, is it true you sabotaged another artist? Did you manipulate selection results? Do you have a statement? Why resurface now? Who are your accomplices? Is this tied to the recent firefighter controversy?" That one stopped her cold. What did Ben have to do with this? Her pulse raced. She pushed past the reporters, adrenaline blurring the voices. Inside, she was escorted to a small meeting room. Her throat tightened when she saw who was already sitting. 2 committee members, a representative from administration, and Clara. Clara gave her a small nod, strained but supportive. Lily sat down, and the questioning began. What happened during the showcase 4 years ago? Describe your involvement with Clara's damaged piece. Why didn't you come forward sooner? Were you responsible for withholding information? Were there other incidents? On and on. Lily answered everything. No excuses, no deflections, just the truth. Her voice trembled, but she kept going. She told them about the moment she froze instead of acting, the jealousy she never addressed, the guilt that never left. When she finished, the room felt heavy. The administrator leaned back, thoughtful. Lily, what you did was wrong, but your honesty today matters. Clara inhaled shakily, then looked at Lily. Thank you for finally telling the truth. Lily felt tears gather, but for the first time, they weren't only from shame. They were also from relief. The committee promised to review everything and get back to her. As she left the building, the reporters swarmed again, but this time, Lily didn't run. She walked straight through them, silent, dignified, prepared. Her phone buzzed again. Ben! Her heart soared and sank at once. She answered. Ben? Hey, I heard you went in today. I did. I'm proud of you. Her chest tightened. How are you feeling? Better. They're letting me out later, but I'm not supposed to do anything strenuous for a few days. That includes going back to work, she teased weakly. That includes standing up without feeling dizzy, he corrected. She laughed, small, tired, but real. Can I come see you later? Lily. His tone shifted, serious, hesitant. Actually, there's something I need to tell you. Her smile faded. What is it? It's about the inquiry, about the press, and about someone reaching out to the department. Lily's stomach dropped. Reaching out? Who? Then hesitated. Too long. Ben, who reached out? He exhaled heavily. Someone claiming to be a witness, saying they have information about you, about us. Her blood turned to ice. What? She whispered. Yeah, he said, low voice. They said you're dangerous, that I should distance myself, that your scandal affects the fire department's reputation. Lily pressed her hand to her forehead. This is getting out of control. Hey, he whispered, we'll figure it out. She swallowed. Ben, what if me being in your life makes everything worse? Then it's my choice to deal with that, not yours. His conviction warmed her despite the fear. But before she could respond, Ben added quietly, Lily, there's more. She froze. What more? Someone sent me a message this morning. From an unknown number. Lily's throat tightened. What did it say? Ben hesitated. Too long. Ben, what did the message say? He exhaled shakily. It said, you don't know who she really is. I'll make sure you find out. Her pulse roared in her ears. And then, Ben continued, another message came. Lily's chest constricted. What message? Ben's voice dropped to a whisper. Next time, the fire won't miss. Lily stopped walking. The street around her blurred. A cold wave crashed over her. Someone was not just exposing her past. Someone was not just leaking old files. Someone was not just watching her. Someone wanted to hurt her. And now they were threatening Ben too. Lily, Ben asked, worried, are you still there?
She forced herself to breathe. I think I know who's doing this. Ben's silence tightened. Who? He asked. Lily swallowed, dread curling in her stomach, because she had seen that shadow.
She had read those messages. She had recognized the tone, sharp, cold, vindictive. Someone who knew her, someone who knew Clara, someone who had been there 4 years ago, someone with a reason to ruin everything now. Lily whispered the name aloud, barely audible. Ben inhaled sharply on the other end. "Lily, that can't be right." "It is," she insisted. "I know it is." "Then we need to go to the authorities, today." But Lily didn't respond, because behind her, from across the street, a figure stood half hidden in the shadow of a building, watching her, not moving, not blinking, the same silhouette she saw at the hospital. Her breath caught. The figure stepped forward, just enough for her to confirm what she already feared. Her world tilted. Ben's voice echoed faintly through the phone. "Lily, Lily, what's happening? Talk to me." But Lily was frozen in place, because the person watching her, the person threatening her, the person feeding the press, the person trying to destroy her life, was someone she once trusted, someone she never expected, someone she thought she'd left behind.
Chapter 7. The Art of Letting Go. The air inside the community gallery felt impossibly still, as though the walls themselves were holding their breath. The board members sat at a long table like a row of judges, their faces stern, their notes in neat stacks. Their expressions blurred together as Lily stood before them, her palms sweating, her knees trembling, her heart beating in frantic thuds. She had prepared her speech 100 times. She had said it in the mirror, whispered it to the walls of her studio, prayed it into the quiet. But standing here, under the fluorescent lights, with the weight of her entire future pressing down on her chest, she suddenly felt as though she were back to being the terrified girl she'd been all those years ago, a girl who made a terrible mistake, a girl who had run from her own guilt, a girl who believed she would never be worthy of forgiveness. But not today. Lily inhaled shakily and lifted her chin. "I'm here to tell the truth." A few of the board members exchanged glances. Chairwoman Hale leaned forward. "We're listening." Lily swallowed, her throat dry. "Several years ago," she began, "I was part of a young artist showcase. Another artist, Clara, submitted an incredible piece. A piece better than anything I had created at the time. I was jealous, afraid, insecure." The words pierced through her, but she kept going. "A flaw appeared in her painting. I knew how to fix it. She trusted me to watch over it while she stepped out, and instead of helping her, I did nothing. I let the flaw spread. I let the painting crack." Her voice trembled. "And she lost the competition because of it." A soft hush fell over the room. Lily gripped her hands together so tightly her knuckles turned white. "I didn't destroy her work with my hands, but I destroyed it with my silence. I hurt someone who trusted me. I hurt a friend. And I've carried that guilt with me every day since." She raised her eyes. "I'm not asking you to excuse me. I'm only asking to be judged for the truth, not for rumors." The room stayed quiet for several seconds. Then footsteps sounded behind her. Lily turned. Clara. Her presence hit Lily like a jolt, sharp, painful, but strangely grounding. Clara's expression was unreadable, her hands clasped tightly, her shoulders rigid with tension. "I told her to come," Clara said to the board, "and I told her to confess, but I also came because I need to say my part." Lily's breath stalled. Clara stepped forward. "What she's saying is true. She let my piece crack. She didn't stop it. She didn't help. And yes, it cost me. It hurt me deeply." The board members nodded gravely. "But," Clara continued, her voice softening, "I want to be clear. She didn't sabotage it with her hands. She didn't vandalize it. She didn't stalk me or threaten me as some rumors have hinted. She didn't wage some rivalry campaign.
She was young, insecure, and overwhelmed. Clara looked directly at Lily. And while I won't pretend I've forgiven her easily, I believe she's truly remorseful. Lily's eyes filled with tears. Clara turned back to the board. What's happening online now? These articles, these accusations, they're exaggerated. Someone took pieces of the truth and twisted them. Lily came here willingly. That counts for something. One of the board members cleared his throat. Thank you, Miss Clara. That helps clarify things. Lily's heart loosened a fraction. Chairwoman Hale adjusted her glasses and addressed them both. This panel appreciates honesty. We don't condone negligence, but we also don't condemn growth. Miss Lily, your confession shows integrity, now, and that matters. Lily exhaled shakily, relief washing over her like a soft tide. Chairwoman Hale continued. We will review your case and deliver a formal decision within 48 hours. In the meantime, please avoid further public commentary. Let us handle the media. Yes, ma'am, Lily whispered. She stepped back, heart still pounding, but no longer suffocating. She had done it. She had finally faced the truth. No matter what happened next, she had chosen courage. Outside the gallery, the sun felt warmer than she remembered it ever being. The air felt lighter. The sky seemed wider. Clara walked beside her, silent. Finally, when they reached the steps, Clara spoke. I didn't expect you to actually confess. I had to. You deserve the truth. Clara studied her. You look different. Different how? Like you finally stopped running. Lily gave a soft, exhausted smile. Her expression shifted, something vulnerable rising through the years of bitterness. I don't know if I'm ready to be friends again, but I think I'm ready to stop being enemies. Lily swallowed around the lump in her throat. I'll take that. Clara nodded. Take care, Lily. And for the first time in years, they parted without anger burning between them, only closure. Maybe forgiveness would come someday. Maybe not. But healing had begun. Lily returned to her studio late in the afternoon, physically drained but spiritually steadier than she had been in years. Her unfinished painting awaited her, colors waiting to be touched, shadows waiting to be berged. She approached it slowly, fingertips brushing the edge of the canvas. She whispered, I'm ready now. Not just for the painting, for truth, for healing, for love. Her phone buzzed. Ben. She closed her eyes, heart tightening. She hadn't told him she was meeting the board today. She hadn't answered his messages last night because she was too afraid he'd see her unraveling. But Ben wasn't someone who would walk away from someone in pain. He had shown that again and again. Lily took a breath and answered. His voice came soft but laced with worry. Lily, thank God you picked up. Are you okay? She sank onto her stool, emotions swelling. I think I am. Where are you? My studio. Stay there. I'm coming. Ben, you don't have to. I'm coming, he said, firm but gentle, and he hung up before she could protest. Her heart fluttered nervously. Minutes later, the studio door opened and Ben stepped in, hair slightly tousled, his firefighter uniform half undone, as if he'd rushed here the moment he got her call. When he saw her, his expression cracked, relief, worry, tenderness, all mixing into something almost too raw to look at. He crossed the room in long strides. Lily, he breathed, cupping her face lightly. Oh, so scared. Are you hurt? Did something happen? She closed her eyes, leaning into his touch. I told the board everything. His breath hitched. Everything, she nodded. And? I don't know yet. They'll decide in 2 days. He let out a slow exhale. I'm proud of you. The words pierced something inside her. Nobody said that to me in so long. Then let me say it as many times as you need. Her heart warmed, melting the last iced corners of her fear. She rested her forehead against his. I don't deserve you. He whispered, Yes, you do. She slowly pulled back enough to see his face. Then Do you still want us, even after everything?" Ben took her hands in his. "I don't want perfection. I want you." Her heart broke open, soft and wide. They stood there, silence curling warmly around them, until Ben leaned forward and pressed his lips to her forehead, a gentle, reverent kiss. Her breath trembled. For the first time in years, she felt whole. 2 days later, Lily sat in the gallery lobby, waiting for the board's verdict. Her stomach fluttered with nervous energy. Ben sat beside her, fingers laced with his, grounding her. When Chairwoman Hale approached, Lily rose to her feet. The older woman smiled warmly. "Miss Lily, we've reviewed your statement and Clara's testimony. After careful consideration, the board has decided you will retain your eligibility for the Arts Initiative." Lily gasped. "Really?" "Yes," Hale confirmed. "Your honesty, accountability, and the context of the incident were taken into account. We believe in growth, and we believe in your future." Tears filled Lily's eyes. She covered her mouth, her shoulders shaking with relief. Ben squeezed her hand, smiling. Chairwoman Hale added, "We would like to formally invite you to present your work in our upcoming exhibition." Lily stared at her. "My work? You want me to—" "Yes," Hale said. "Your voice belongs in this community." Lily nearly collapsed forward from the wave of emotion that hit her. She swallowed hard and whispered, Thank you so much." As the chairwoman walked away, Lily buried her face in her hands and sobbed, joyful, relieved sobs. Ben stepped closer, wrapping his arms around her. "You did it," he whispered. "No," she said through her tears. "We did." He chuckled softly. "I'll take that." She wiped her face and looked up at him. "Ben?" "Yeah?" "I think I'm finally ready." "For the exhibition?" "For everything," she whispered. "For love, for healing, for letting go." Ben smiled widened, warm and bright. "Then let's walk into it together."
And as he pulled her into a kiss, slow, tender, soul deep, the past finally loosened its grip on her. She wasn't running anymore. She wasn't hiding. She wasn't trapped in guilt or grief. She was stepping into the life waiting for her, into the grace she didn't think she deserved, into love she never believed she could have. And as she looked around the gallery, then back at the man holding her, Lily felt it fully. She was free.
Thank you for listening. Kindly like this video to support the creation of more audiobooks. Subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the release of the next story. Leave a comment below and tell us what you think of the story.